about this one is all the signs are videos. So you click on the word you want, and you can watch it being signed. You do have to register for this one if you want to be able to search, but it's free. And if you clicked on a word you wanted to see, it would look like this, but he would be moving. I couldn't take a video of it, but what he would do. And then if you have registered, you can get to here without registering. If you register, then you get the word used in a sentence. So you know that word, that's the right sign for what I mean. For words that have more than one meaning. You get a description of the sign, sort of like we saw in the other site, and you get some other things that help you remember how to sign it. They're little tips and tricks. Those are two really good websites, and there will be more. What about this? It would be nice if you could just type what you wanted into Google and find the right sign. There are a few problems with that. One of them is sign language is not the same all around the world. American Sign Language is different than English Sign Language, is different than Chinese Sign Language, is different than French Sign Language. They're, in some cases, so different it would be really bad if you use the wrong thing. And you can't always tell from just doing a random search. Even within the United States, there are pretty drastic regional differences in signs. So that the way we sign a certain sign in Oregon could be different than the way we sign in West Virginia or in Texas. And so it's important to know that you're choosing the sign that is appropriate to the area in which you live, so that you can be understood. On top of that, if you search for what is the sign for happy or something in a Google search like this, you could get American Sign Language signs as an example. But you could get signs from another country. There are also within the United States other signing systems, such as Sign Exact English or manually coded English, which are ways to represent English using your hands, which is not the same as what most of the kids in our schools are using. They might be, and if you know that you're working with a kid who's using Sign Exact English, then that's what you want, because that's what they're using. But it's less likely to be something that everyone you use it with is going to understand. So, if you have to search, if you can't find your sign any other way, and there's nobody who's a fluent signer around to ask, make sure you use words that help you very narrowly define what you want. Even using the word sign language, or even ASL, which is abbreviation for American Sign Language, you can have problems. I searched for the sign language sign for flag, and this is what I got. This is obvious. Obviously not what you want. However, this is just as incorrect, but not so obvious. These are British signs.
How do you know the difference? I mean,
yeah. That's my point. How do you know the difference?
The sign that's done here then?
American Sign Language.
That's what it is that you're using American.
So you're more likely to get, right, these are British signs. And just looking at them, nowhere on the page did it say they were British signs. I took a class in British Sign Language, so I knew they were British. But if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. So if you're going to search, it's very important that you include the word American in your American Sign Language. Even then, if you find a sign that way, you want to check it with somebody. Make sure it's what you wanted. Okay. Well, I'm talking about sources. The Eugene Public Library System has a lot of really good sources in the children's section and in the adult foreign language section. There's a great video series, maybe two, I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff there, so that's a good resource. All right, so let's look at some dictionary entries. When we're looking, oh, that's dark, I'm sorry. When we're looking at signs in the dictionary, there's a couple of things that are really, really key. You want a dictionary that has clear pictures. And if you can have pictures of at least this part of the body, that's better. I have seen some pictures where they're just hands. And if that's all you can find, that's okay, but it's much better when you can see where on the body that sign's supposed to be happening. So these two have pretty clear pictures. You can see there's an arrow here to show how the movement is. I can see their hands, I can see their faces there. See where the sign's supposed to go. It's also really good if they have a description of the how to form the sign. Also of what the sign means. And, oh yeah, clear definitions. So this is another page from lifeprint.com. I looked up the word right, and right has more than one meaning. So we have more than one sign for it here, and this tells very clearly, it says right, the direction, opposite of left. That's right. So you can sign that with me. And this one down here is right, meaning correct. You're right.
Can I ask you, does it matter which hand you use?
Yes.
It does. Okay.
To some extent. If the sign is moving, I'm going to talk about it more a little bit later.
This hand it would be wrong.
If
This hand it would be right.
Right.
you generally use the hand you write with,
Okay.
especially if the sign's moving in.
But if you were left-handed, would you?
You would
still
use your left hand. You would say right. You move to the right. In
Oh,
this
okay.
case, because it's this direction.
Okay.
So that is.
That's a good question. Why,
So now we know what to look for in a dictionary. I'm going to tell you a couple more things before we start signing. A few things that will help when you are signing. That's weird. Okay. That's actually really good time. Yes. So you want to pick one dominant hand, and generally that's the hand you write with. I'm right-handed, so I use my right hand. Is anyone left-handed in here? Okay, I'm just going to stick with my right hand then. If you want to have a group of kids and they're all right-handed, I sign left-handed so they can marry me. But you guys are adults, you can figure it out. Alright, so you want to pick a hand to be your dominant hand. That's the hand you fingerspell with. That's the hand if a sign is, I'll tell you that later. Right now, actually. If both your hands are moving in a sign, they both must be the same hand shape. So, if we are signing a sign like play, get your hands ready, play. Both hands are moving, so they're both the same. Other signs, you might have one hand shape, and one hand another hand shape. I can't think of an example off the top of my head. That's a good one, yeah. Only one hand will move. Jumps. They're different, and the one that moves is the one you write with.
Okay.
That's your dominant hand. Thirdly, if it hurts, you're doing it wrong. It shouldn't ever hurt. Now, awkward is not the same as hurt. Sometimes signs feel really awkward at first, but that will go away. But if it hurts, and this is one of the earliest places where you find things that hurt. People who illustrate the alphabet don't illustrate every letter from the same perspective. So, all of these are from the perspective of the person looking at the sign. And then we get, my hand looks like what you see. But when we get to letter H, every person who looks at a chart like this signs an H like this. Don't do that. That's painful. H goes this way. And they never tell you they've changed the perspective. So if you come across a sign where you're looking at it and you're like, I think it goes like this, but ow, that hurts, ask somebody who knows the sign. Or take another look at it and say, it's not supposed to hurt. Okay, now we're going to read some dictionary entries. We need to know, here's some words that might be unfamiliar that you will want to know. A lot of times in the description it will tell you the hand shape. That's a pretty obvious word to decode. A lot of them are letters of the alphabet. Sometimes you see things like a claw hand shape. That would be like this. Or a bent B, which is either a B that's bent, or sometimes it's a flat hand with all your fingers together. Or a flat O, just like an O, and then
It's like a puppet.
yes.
Mr. Hand.
Fortunately, there's usually a picture, so that helps, but those are some interesting words you